Hello. Sorry again, late again, trying to not be late. Melvin, no. How is everybody? Tell me. How is everyone? Can everybody hear? Okay. Says it's live. Okay. Melvin, no. Oh, my dogs. My boys. Hey, Eori. How is everybody doing? Oh, thank you, Luca. Yeah, I'm just waiting to see. Hold. Didn't even. Hello from Argentina. Nice. Hey. Cool sweater. Oh, it's not a sweater. It's a t-shirt, but I'm wearing it. Can you guys see it? I'm wearing it over a turtleneck because I'm cold. Fuwa-chan, thank you so much for the super chat. That is so nice of you. We haven't even gotten into anything. I appreciate you, Fuwa-chan. I also like your new profile picture. All right, how's everybody doing today? You know, I told you guys, I hope everybody's doing good. I told you guys that we were going to do this stream today at 5 so that we could talk about the election and I could address, hey, from Germany, awesome. I love hearing where you guys are chatting from. So I said that we were going to do this stream today because I wanted to talk about and explain who I'm voting for and why, because a lot of people have been asking me for months. Like, I've gotten in mad arguments about it, gotten a lot of hate from a lot of people for it, about good to see, glad to know you're a dog person. True. I'm a huge dog person, okay? But yeah, a lot of people, I've gotten a lot of arguments and gotten a lot of hate from a lot of people because for months I have said that I didn't know who I was going to vote for. And that made a lot of people mad. It made a lot of blue MAGA mad, made a lot of libs mad, made a lot of Green Party voters mad, a lot of leftists mad that I said that I didn't know and that I was struggling with my vote and who to vote for, because I am not someone who thinks that it doesn't matter or that the Republicans and Trump are not a threat. I do worry about Trump and the Republicans. I do think they're a threat. I do worry about our country and the people in this country. But I'm also obviously worried about the genocide and the escalation that is happening in the Middle East and the Israeli regime trying to start World War III and the United States being totally fine with it, it seems. Totally fine, like helping, wanting to help. And at every turn, oh, thank you. I live in your state and I will be leaving the top of the ticket blank. Okay. Oh, okay. Globalize my agenda. Yeah, I'm getting to you. Who are you voting for? I'm saying why I hadn't said it for months, because I was struggling and I didn't know who I was going to vote for because of those concerns. So I won't be being engaged is the main thing. Yes, exactly. Trump is a threat, but I'm not going to pretend. Somebody said Trump is not a threat. Yes, he is. Let's not get it twisted. I do not like when people pretend that Trump is not a threat just because they don't like the Democrats. I don't like the Democrats either, but he is a threat. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is that it's been something that I've really struggled with because all of our options are trash. Like, we don't have a lot of good options. And of course, I'm worried about my fellow citizens. I'm also worried, as a person who lives in the imperial core, how my vote is going to affect the rest of the world. And watching the way that the Democrats have just continued to kick everybody in the face that has been fighting to end the genocide, it's just been really disheartening and overwhelming. So anyway, so my answer is, because a lot of people are saying, who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? I'm telling you guys, I just wanted to preface that by saying why I had taken so long to come to the decision that I did, because I was really thinking about it and I was really struggling with it. And the answer that I have come to, who I will be voting for, is Claudia de la Cruz. I'll be voting for Claudia de la Cruz. I will not be voting for Kamala Harris. I will not be voting for Jill Stein. And I will not be voting for any Democrat at the federal level. So, Sheriff Mosin, thank you for the super chat, Sheriff. Thank you for being a constant truth teller with shameless. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm not gonna lie, like, obviously I wasn't really looking forward to this conversation because I've had, like, obviously so much hate from everybody for not, wanting either answering quick enough about who I was voting for in the last couple months, or struggling with the decision, or not voting for who they wanted to vote or who they wanted me to vote for. But the fact of the matter is that the fact of the matter is that despite getting hate from people, or despite getting harassment from people, I'm going to do what I believe in my heart is the right thing to do. And for me, and I know I live in New York, I'm not pretending like it wouldn't be probably even harder for me if I lived in a swing state. Like, if I lived in a swing state, I probably would struggle even more. And I know that I live in New York, but I had to do what was in my heart and what I believed to be right. And I cannot vote for the Democrats this year and Kamala Harris. They haven't even, honestly, and I say this all the time, and I said it in the video that I just uploaded before I got on here. They say all the time that, oh, our party is a reflection of our values. Well, it is your responsibility as the party running to earn my vote. And they did not. At every turn, I tried to give Kamala Harris a chance. And at every turn, they made it clear that they were not interested in getting my vote. Benjamin, I like your keffiyeh. Trimming homegrown flowers, that's a great. I'm Cali sober, but did almost die from booze. My sister, pre-Palestine. Thank you. Well, I'm happy to hear that you're sober, even if it's Cali sober. Everybody has a different road to recovery. I couldn't do that because I know for me personally, it would lead to relapse, but I don't judge anybody who does sobriety differently than me because everybody recovers differently. So congratulations. I think that's amazing that you are sober and doing what's best for you. And, a lot of times people make light of alcohol. Alcohol is no fucking joke. Okay. Did I miss any other member comments? Van Peters. Trump is stupid, so it's harder for him. No, that's true. But to be fair, he does have a lot of lunatics that are smart, that are going to be on his campaign. I'm trying to read as many comments as I can. Obviously, I'm going to try to read the super chats and the member comments first. Did I miss any other member comments? Did Blakely say who she? Oh, sidewalk. It's not she. It's pronouns they, them. And yes, I did say who I was voting for. I'm voting for Claudia de la Cruz. I'll also be voting for Diane. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on her name? I'm blanking on her last name. Diane, who is running at the federal level for Senate in New York. I will be voting against. I will be voting against Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, and honestly, everybody at the federal level, because Democrats in New York are so embarrassing. Like, they're so embarrassing. They're all Zionist shills. They don't represent, like, the majority of New Yorkers. They represent the machine. So, yeah, screw them. And I won't be voting for any Democrat. And a lot of people are like, well, you're just like trying to punish them and therefore you're trying to punish America. No, I'm not trying to punish anybody. They've already been punishing us. What I am saying is, you did not earn my vote, period. It was your responsibility to earn my vote, and you didn't even try. You actually told me to kick rocks. at every turn. Diane Sayre, thank you. I'm sorry. Diane Sayre, if you live in New York, vote for Diane Sayre. And by the way, because New York is a blue state and it will go blue no matter what, it is okay to vote for Diane Sayre for Senate because a Republican is not going to win a Senate seat in New York. Like that's not happening. It's not happening. It's like California, it's not happening. So, if you are a voter in New York, please pass this on to your friends. Vote for Diane Ware and write other people in for, for the second senator. Write in Hind Rajab, write in Sinwar, write in uncommitted, write in anybody except for Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, because this is at least how I feel about it. Especially like in blue states. The more people vote for somebody like Diane Sayre, the more you're letting them know that you disapprove because they don't care. Let me get back to some of the member comments that I might have missed. Did I miss? Not bombing you. I just meant to say I did. It's fine, Benjamin. Wait a second. That's a great shirt. I mean, don't worry about it, Benjamin. Thoughts on AOC? Yeah, I think AOC is unfortunately a sellout. And I don't mean that to be like harassing her. I think AOC gets an unfair criticism when she's one of many who are sellouts, but I do also understand why people do pay more attention to her because she had such promise and she came out so strong, and then she basically, in my view, did what a lot of Democrats do, but it was more hurtful with her because she represented such promise and change. Said a bunch of things, acted like she was like a progressive, that she was a leftist. And then she got into office and basically became a standard Democrat, carrying water for standard Democratic things. Claudia is a great choice. Yeah, I picked Claudia. I think Claudia is great. Obviously, I'm under no illusion that she's going to win. But again, my vote is one of the only ways that I can let them know that I disapprove of what they're doing. That's why it's obnoxious when people are like, stop trying to punish them. First of all, like, stop infantilizing them, okay? Stop infantilizing the Democrats. Stop infantilizing Kamala Harris, blue MAGA, okay? But the other thing is, I am already protesting. I am already boycotting, okay? I've already been sending my Congress people emails and shit, okay? And so the only other way, as of right now, that I can make my disapproval of their genocide known is to vote against them. Don, shut up. Don from Twitter. You just listen. Shut up, Don. Hair on fleek. You have good point. Thank you, Mud Chat. Mud Chat, I haven't seen you in a minute. Where you been? Because of the rapidity at which she sold. Yes, exactly. AOC. Frankly, Ilhan Omar is doing the same dog and pony show as AOC. They talk out of both. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I think that it tends to be louder with AOC because AOC was more of a star, honestly, in the Democratic Party. I think that's why. Because AOC was like, she represented like so much more promise and she was so much more exciting, I think, than most people. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I saw the member comments first. Also, if you are not already subscribed to my YouTube, which is free to do to subscribe and click the bell so that, you get notifications for when we're live. I sound like Tucker Carlson, the royal we, when I'm live. Yeah, so questions. Let's get into the Q&A portion of this if anybody has any. I will obviously be answering questions from members first or super chats first, but once I answer them, feel free. I will try to answer like other ones too. O'Day! O'Day's here, everybody. O'Day's entered the chat. Sorry, they're going really fast. Such boomer. Okay. Correct 6-5. It should have it where it doesn't have it, but it should have it where member comments show up first so that those people who are members on YouTube, I'll see their comments first, but it doesn't, and then it goes by really, really quick. All right. What do you think? Oh, it's gone. Okay, so the first question that I am seeing, even though they're going by really fast, is why I'm choosing to vote for Claudia De La Cruz over Jill Stein. Because I think that Claudia De La Cruz is just a better politician. Wait. What? There was a huge massacre 30 minutes ago in Beit Lahia in northern Gaza where 70 people. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Sorry, you guys. I just wanted to. I'm trying to find it, a link to it. A whole neighborhood was wiped. Does anybody have a link to that? What O'Day is talking about? Sorry, guys. We'll get back to this in a second. We'll get back to the voting thing, and we can talk about why I'm voting for Claudia De La Cruz and not Jill Stein. I want to look into this really quick. If someone has a link, that would be awesome. It's on Al Jazeera. Okay. Of course it is. Of course our media is ignoring it. Wait a second. Hold on. I'm going to share my screen so that you guys can see this too. At least 73 killed in an Israeli attack on Gaza's Beit Lahia. Sorry for mispronouncing it. His attack was reminiscent of the initial weeks of the war. More on Beit Lahia. Buildings collapsed while people were still inside. Israeli forces. At least 73 people have been killed in an Israeli attack on northern Gaza's Beit Lahia. The death toll is expected to rise. The Gaza Strip's government media office says. The Israeli regime's prime minister's office says Benjamin Netanyahu's house in Qasseriyah, north of Tel Aviv, has been hit by a drone launched from Lebanon. Israeli forces target al-Awad. Wait, where's the information about this? This particular attack is a reminder of the initial weeks of the genocidal war, the intensity, the scale, the number of repeated attacks, just a culmination of these 15 days ongoing horror in the northern part of Gaza. Let's not forget that the people have endured 15 days of not having any proper access to food, water supplies, or life-saving resources or items, and have been forced to flee from one area to another until they ended up in the project area. People have not only endured that, but now that they are paying a heavy price for this ground incursion and aggressive invasion into the northern cities of the Gaza Strip. And some of you were telling me that, and some of you were still telling me that I should vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. I hope someone does this too. Maybe Al Jazeera will. But I hope someone at some point documents in a book or something every massacre that happened in the year of this genocide. Every massacre. This massacre, the Flower Massacre, the massacre last week outside of Al-Aqsa Hospital, the massacre they committed when they were rescuing the hostages. Everything should be written down because they're going to retcon it and try to lie about it. We've lived under. I know, and I'm so sorry, O'Day, to hear this. I'm so sorry. This is so awful. And what happened? What happened, Israeli regime? I thought, hey, remember when they said that this was about Sinwar? Okay. Remember that? Well, why are you still attacking them? Explain. Why are you still attacking them when you said that your goal was to get Sinwar? Why are you still attacking them? The reason, I know the answer obviously was rhetorical. The reason is because they are trying to wipe all of the Palestinians out and they want to annex northern Gaza. They are actually trying to annex northern Gaza, and the Biden administration is doing nothing about it. And Kamala Harris still said that she opposes an arms embargo. I'm pretty sure, where did I see that this morning? This morning is if I get up early. Kamala Harris, she opposes. August 8th. Oh, where was it? That's too old. Whoops. Thank you for the super chat, Lee Lumini Munster. The $20 super chat. Thank you. Or not dollar. I think that's UK currency. Thank you for every single post you sent now for more than a year. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that a lot. I put a lot of time and effort into all the videos that I do. I mostly post every day. There's like occasionally we're all like, wait a few days, but thank you. I appreciate that. What was I talking about? The video live stream on Al Jazeera is chilling. Unfortunately, I'm sure it is, and I'd like to watch it, but unfortunately, I can't play it here because they'll probably be like, oh, like, and like make excuses. But here's the thing, even without seeing it, this is the reason. This right here, what just happened in northern Gaza that O'Day was telling us about, this is the reason why I will not support Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has no plan to end this. None. None. In fact, I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but they don't even come out and condemn it anymore. You know, there were a few times in the beginning where when the Israeli regime would do something horrific, the Biden administration would pay lip service to it and be like, oh, we condemn their attack on a hospital. We condemn their attacks on civilians. But now did they say anything about Shaban when he was burned alive? No, they didn't say anything about that. They're not even fronting anymore. Now, when something like this happens, they're not even pretending to give a shit anymore. Now, they're like, oh, well, anyway, like they're not even addressing it. They're not even talking about it. Mark my words. They will not come out and condemn this terrorist attack on northern Gaza. Mark my words, they will not come out and condemn this terrorist attack on northern Gaza. They are trying to annex northern Gaza. That's what's happening right now. And there were a lot of people, and I was sympathetic to this argument, right? That kept saying to me when we were talking about voting, right? That were like, Trump is going to annex the occupied West Bank if he gets into office. And I'm like, yeah, that's really worrying. I don't want Trump in office and trying to annex the West Bank. But it's gotten to the point where I'm like, you don't think? Do you think that Kamala Harris would stop it? Her administration? Because they're trying to annex the northern Gaza right now, and they're not doing anything. They're trying to annex northern Gaza right now, and they're not doing anything. They have escalated and invaded Lebanon and are talking about Iran, and this administration has done nothing. So I'm not buying that anymore. Himar's death was a heroic yet sad. He looked like he fought for us. Yeah, it was actually me. Well, if it makes you feel any better, O'Day, he wasn't alone. I mean, he was in that last moment, but he was with other men, other militants and fighters. But actually I've said this on other channels, I think that it's incredibly embarrassing that they released that drone footage because they thought that it was going to make him look bad or that it was going to be like celebratory, and all they did was make him look really cool. Like I'm like this footage isn't doing what you think it's doing. Thank you for the super chat, O'Day, by the way. I appreciate that. The Western media is controlled, by the way. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, O'Day. That's why it's embarrassing that they released it. Why did you release it? Like, I honestly was genuinely confused. Like, I was like, why would they release that? It reminds me of something that would be in an American movie. Like, America, we love our war movies and our heroes and all of that other stuff. But like, we love to make movies showing like heroic war people and resistance fighters and freedom fighters in our movies in America. And I'm like, bro, that's what that looked like. Like, you did not make him look bad. What do you what is this? Social media is highly censored in the Middle East. It's highly censored here, dude. Like, it's highly censored in America. Yeah, but again, this is just one more example of how this was never about Hamas. This was never about the hostages. They literally don't give a fuck about the hostages. Like, they're not even, I like how they're not even pretending to give a fuck about the hostages anymore. This was never about the hostages. It was never about Hamas. And it turns out it wasn't really even about Sinwar. Wasn't even about him. No, you guys, don't get it twisted. This was always about stealing all Palestinian land. This was always about ethnic cleansing. This was always about genocide. This was always about stealing Palestinian land and displacing them. Okay? That's what that's about. It's what it's always been about. And as they continue to massacre civilians and massacre women and children and babies and grandmas, and they're doing it with our as in if you're an American or in the West at all, a lot of Western countries are, places like the UK, Germany, although no one's really surprised about Germany, they're doing it with our money. So if we're going to bring this back to the conversation we started it with you guys asking me, you know, who I'm voting for, why not, and why I'm not voting for Kamala Harris, this is why. This is why. And if that makes you angry, well, then it makes you angry. You're allowed to feel how you feel, but so am I. And in just my personal opinion, it's fine if you're angry, but I'm angry too. I'm angry about this genocide. I'm angry about my tax dollars going to fund it. I'm angry that the Democratic Party doesn't want to listen. I'm angry that they're ignoring us. I'm angry that we've been protesting and boycotting and calling them and emailing them and letting them know how we feel, and they've told us to kick rocks. So why would I vote for them? It's the candidate's job to earn the votes of the people. It is the candidate's job to appeal and get the votes of the people. And Kamala Harris did not do that. Always voted Dem, never voted for GOP. Yeah, I hope you're not going to. The GOP are also garbage. Let's not get that twisted. They all suck. They all suck. So Republicans also who pretend to hate this system and say that they're against what's happening in Gaza, but then they're going to vote for Trump. Well, you're just as embarrassing. You're just as embarrassing. Anybody who truly opposes this genocide, if you're on the right, then you wouldn't vote for Trump either. There's some libertarian dude, I forget his name, but he is against the genocide. If the genocide is what you're voting on, then you shouldn't be voting for Trump either. You should vote for that. Like, if you don't want to vote for somebody on the left, vote for that libertarian dude. So shiny. Yeah, I understand that, Katie. I understand that fear. I do. And it's valid. You know, I'm not judging anybody for how they're choosing to vote. Chase Oliver, thank you. That's a libertarian candidate. I am not, you know, going to shame anybody for how they choose to vote. If you are voting for Harris and people have good reasons for wanting to vote for Harris, I understand that. And obviously, it took me so long to finally say who I was going to vote for because I was considering voting for Harris for very similar reasons as to what you're describing. I was considering it because I was worried too. So I'm not judging anybody that is. I'm just saying for me, I can't. And I won't. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Ada. Ada, I don't want to butcher your last name. What are your thoughts on voting for Cornel West? Thank you for all the work that you do in putting voice. I really appreciate that, Ottawa or Ada. Thank you. Honestly, my honest thoughts on Cornel West is that I really love Cornel West as an academic. Cornel West is brilliant. Cornel West, I think, is a good person, but Cornel West is an academic who, honestly, in my opinion, never should have ran for president. Like, his campaign was an insane dumpster fire from jump. Like, remember, guys, he started out with the People's Party, which turned out to be like a huge scam. And then, like, he went to the people were talking about going to the Green Party, but then he didn't want to go to the Green Party. And, there was all this back and forth. And like, he's just run a very unserious campaign and he hasn't even been campaigning. So, like, again, I will always respect him for his brilliance as an academic. But like, real talk, he should have never been in the presidential race in the first place. Reginald R. First, thank you so much for the super chat. These things never go unnoticed. I appreciate all of you so very much. The Dems have run the other guys the boogeyman playbook ever since I started voting in the 90s, and I'm done with them at the national level. Third party or bust. I hear you. I hear you. It is. It's the same every time. And I guarantee you they will do it again in 2028. It's not enough. It's not enough. And what you're saying, Reginald, is not only true, they do it every 4 years, but also they keep moving further to the right. Like, every cycle, they keep moving further to the right. I want everybody to hear me when I say this, okay? Because I'm seeing a lot of people. To be fair, Project 2025 is freaking scary, so I don't blame. Yeah, it is. And I totally get that. I'm worried about it too. Listen, let me be super clear about something. There are some people on the left who mega downplay Trump and the Republicans. They say that the Democrats are just fear mongering, that Republicans aren't that bad, that Project 2025 doesn't matter. I do not believe that. Republicans are fascists, they are bad. Project 2025 is bad. And they absolutely want to do that shit. Like, they are horrible. So it gets on my nerves when leftists try to downplay it and not just acknowledge that, it kind of reminds me of when, blue MAGA or Democrats say that, oh, the left is just trying to be morally superior. It's like, well, no, they're not trying to be morally superior. It's just that you don't want to reconcile your vote to uphold this administration that has conducted and committed and facilitated this genocide. It's bad faith. It's like you don't want to acknowledge it. Just acknowledge it and say, okay, yes, I'm voting and it will continue to enable this genocide, but I have other concerns, right? Like, that would be more honest to just say, like, yes, I am contributing. I mean, we're contributing anyway. So I don't want to try. I'm not trying to be pious because honestly, no matter who you are in this country, no matter how you vote, we are all contributing to the genocide because we pay taxes. Our taxes are going to genocide no matter who we vote for. So I'm not trying to wiggle my way out of anything. I understand my own complicity. But I don't like when Democrats or blue MAGA or liberals try to go, oh, no, I'm voting for them. You're trying to be moral superior because you want to show your opposition or your disapproval for this genocide. It's like, first of all, again, like I say a million times, you don't owe anyone your vote. You do not owe anyone your vote. And yes, it is a valid position to have to say, I am voting against the Democrats because I disapprove of this genocide. I don't want to give my vote to the people that are low-key, unapologetically continuing this genocide. Like, it's pretty unapologetic at this point, okay? And in the same way, I don't like when leftists shit on people and act like, because Democrats bad, that means Republicans are good or not a threat. Like, no, guys, Democrats bad, but also Republicans fascists. like they're both true. Okay. They're both true. New member, Iori. Iori became a member. Da na 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 na. Na 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 na. Thank you, Iori. Oh, I was trying to show it. There we are. Thank you, Iori. New member. Woohoo! Did I miss any member comments? Here we go. If you vote your good faith conscience, that's the best you can do. Exactly. And I also say often, I also say often that it's just one tool. Guys, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Voting is just one part of that. I am not voting for Jill Stein. We are already, I mean, true. We are. It's true. I mean, it's kind of true. I'm not disagreeing with you, Leon. Very surreal said, if yes, are you voting third party? Yes, I am. I'm not voting for Jill Stein, but I am voting third party. I'm voting for Claudia de la Cruz. And I will be voting against Democrats in every area of the national election, including my senators and congressperson. Oh, not at all, O'Day. All right. This shirt is amazing. I actually got it at the protest in DC when we went to go protest Satan Yahoo's address to Congress. I got it there. Okay, let me move this so that I can show you guys. I don't know what this says. What is it? I don't know what this says. It's something in Arabic. Maybe it says Palestine. All right. See? And then this is the back. Wait, can you guys see it? And then on each side, here is the map of Palestine. And then on this side, it's the flag. Isn't that cute? I love it. I'm like obsessed with this shirt. I did finally been trying for weeks. Oh, I appreciate that, Iori. Thank you so much. I appreciate you becoming a member. Also, reminder to everybody, you can also become a member on my Patreon or Ko-Fi. Okay? It does not, or Ko-fi. I think somebody said I was saying it wrong. It does not have to be YouTube. But I'll appreciate your support from any platform. But yeah, it doesn't have to be YouTube. But I appreciate it. Zoe. Oh, you didn't write anything. Okay, Zoe, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you. I appreciate you. Sheriff Mohsen became a YouTube member. Yay! Okay. Thank you, Sheriff Mohsen. I appreciate you. Thank you for becoming a member. And also, guys, just another reminder, then we're going to keep talking about the election. If you you don't, I appreciate again so much anybody who becomes a member, whether it's here or sends a super chat or sticker, becomes a member on Patreon or Ko-Fi, but like also or donates to my Venmo, any ways that you guys support me. But also remember that like you can subscribe to my YouTube too for free. It does not cost anything to subscribe and support my channel. I need all the support I can get because I need to kind of balance out all the attacks. Like people always attacking me. I'm not looking, honestly, guys, like real talk, I'm not looking forward to the next week because I know the relentless attacks, they're coming. They're coming. Everyone's going to be mad. Everyone's going to be mad at me. The Green Party voters are going to be mad that I said I'm not voting for Jill Stein. Blue MAGA and the libs are going to say that I'm helping Trump and I'm actually a closeted Republican. And yeah, so that's going to be fun. Okay. I want that shirt too. I think if you guys want, I can find the brand that made it or where I got it from. It was like an Etsy shop. And the woman, like I had to scan the QR code in order to buy it because I think like I don't remember, but I bet I could find who it was that sold it to me. But yeah, it's amazing. And it's actually really good quality. You know, when like I always hate when you get merch from somewhere because you want to support like a cause and the merch sucks. Um, which, by the way, I keep waiting and trying to get feedback from you guys about the shirts in my store. Like, if you go to the YouTube store, I've seen people buy shirts, a hoodie, mugs from my YouTube store, and I want your feedback. Like, do the products suck? Are they good? Is the material good? I haven't heard anything though yet. It says Palestine. Okay, good. It does. Okay. Yeah, that's beautiful. You know what I want to see? What does my name look like written in Arabic? What does my name look I wanna know what my name would look like written in Arabic. Arabic is such a beautiful, like, written language, like, the way it looks written out. That wasn't to me, was it? I've been making my own stickers and handing them out. Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah, I love it when I'm walking around New York City or I'm walking around Brooklyn and I see Free Palestine stickers everywhere. I'm like, "Based." I do use Discord, the Arab man. I do. My Discord is in my YouTube. If you go to like the community tab on YouTube, the Discord link is there. FYI, there's a Dem troll among us. Oh, who is it? I'll kick him out. I forgot. I know. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. Wait, O'Day, is this my name? Ah! That looks so cool. That looks really cool, if I might say so myself. Wait, but why does it look different here? Somebody else wrote this. It looks different. Why does it look different? It looks you guys see what I mean? It looks different here than here. I missed and sorry who you're voting for. Sparring between two G's. LOL. The first was the most correct. Okay, so the way that O'Day wrote it then, you're saying this, right? It looks so cool. I want to put it on a shirt. It looks really cool. I want to put it on a shirt. Is that for okay, yeah. It looks really cool. Okay, so I see some people just joined and you guys want to know wait, is there a blue MAGA in here that I need to kick out? Who is it? Wait, who's talking about Ethan Klein? I used to really like Ethan Klein. Oh, okay. This is a good question. So let's get into the questions, you guys. I told you I would answer your questions. Like I said, I will always try to answer member comments first. Obviously, super chats will get priority. But when I see other people, then, you know, that have a good question or whatever, if I've already answered the super chats and the member comments, then I'll try to get to your comments too. Somebody wrote, which I think is a good comment. Oh, snap, where'd it go? What do you think of the argument that Jill Stein is the strongest third party candidate that could get to 5%? I understand the argument, but I don't care if they get to 5%. That's honestly it. because I think that the Green Party is really on many levels, and I'm not saying this to smear anyone who votes Green or who wants to see the Green Party do well. I'm not saying anything against that, but the Green Party is an institution, as under Jill Stein, like, I'm sorry, has been super unserious. So why am I going, if people want to get Jill Stein to 5%, great, you do you. But I'm not going to go out of my way to vote for Jill Stein to help the Green Party get at 5% when the Green Party has shown itself over and over and over again to be a feckless, unserious, and disorganized organization. My whole thing is get your shit together before you start asking us to get you to 5%. Jill Stein was endorsed by David Duke. That's not why I'm voting for her. Like, or that's not why I'm not voting for her. I don't give a shit about that because Dick and Liz Cheney voted for, endorsed Kamala Harris. Genuinely, who's a bigger threat or has committed more war crimes? David Duke, who's a total loser. Like, seriously, who gives a fuck? David Duke is such a pathetic loser. Who's done more actual damage to the country? Dick Cheney. Like, does everybody have amnesia? Does everybody have amnesia? Does no one read? Dick Cheney's one of the most prolific war criminals in this country's history. And Kamala Harris is being like, oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy to have Dick and Liz Cheney's endorsement. Be for real. Your instance on voting, even though the political situation is dire from our point of view. Yeah, I hear you, O'Day. That's why it's so frustrating and overwhelming because I feel like no matter what we do, they're just continuing on. They're not listening to us. That's why I don't want to vote for the Democrats because they're not listening to us. We're telling them, stop the genocide. Look at any poll in the United States. The overwhelming majority of Democratic voters want this genocide to end, want the Israeli regime to have an arms embargo put on it, want us to stop funding them. And the Democrats, time and time again, have told us to fuck off. So I feel absolutely powerless. They're not listening to me, us, me as if they know me. They're not listening to us. They don't care about what we have to say. We're protesting, boycotting, calling them, emailing them, and they're not listening. And that is what is so frustrating about it and so disheartening. It feels so just depressing, and it makes me feel despondent. It makes me feel so upset that I feel like nothing I do or can do will stop this horror. I literally struggle to sleep at night. I don't know how they sleep at night. I certainly don't know how they sleep at night. I literally struggle to fucking sleep at night. I struggle every single day. I walk around Brooklyn and I see children and I see the children in Gaza. And it makes me feel so fucking upset and powerless that I feel there is nothing I can do about it. And this is being done in my name, by my government, with my tax dollars. Sorry, I got upset. And so the only thing I feel like that I can do with my vote is register, my disapproval for this. Oh, that's so sweet, O'Day. Thank you so much. That's such a nice thing to say. I'm literally talking about something really, really important, and some of you dorks in my comments are talking about my face being oily or shiny. Shut up. Shut up. If you're that bothered by the fact that I have cream and sunscreen on my face, then a jiggy it. Then a jiggy. You don't have to watch. You don't have to look at my fucking face. But really, that's what you're arguing about? That's what you want to talk about? Yeah, we do need to have ranked choice voting. Absolutely. But both the Democrats and the Republicans often fight it because they don't, like, no one gives up their power voluntarily. Like, the Democrats, just as much as the Republicans, do not want to have a bigger tent. They don't want to have more than a two-party system. Reminder that everything that's happening in our dystopian society is happening to ensure that people with more money than they can ever possibly need are able to keep getting more money as quickly as possible. That's true. Where's the lie? No lies detected. That's absolutely true. And the sad thing is that not only do we have, a lot of Democrats that don't care about that, Republicans don't care about that either. I read an article last night in the New York Times about what is it called? Bucks County, and the Republicans that were being interviewed, just like regular Republicans in the town, they were like, "How do you feel about the fact that Trump has been like a failed businessman?" And the guy was like, "Well, we know that billionaires and rich people play by different rules, and we're fine with that." And then the writer was talking about how a lot of them would talk about Trump's wealth and his ability to cheat his taxes and cheat his workers as something to aspire to and admire. So, like, we got a lot of work to do. We're kind of a long way from that. Because not only do you have a lot of liberals and Democrats that are still brainwashed by late stage capitalism, you have Republicans that they like admire it. They admire corrupt oligarchs. Elon Musk is a perfect example of that. Look at all the right wingers that fawn over Elon Musk, that love him, that think that he's so base when, like, really? Like, no. If you're not a total cuck, you should have disdain for anybody who is a billionaire who's literally trying to buy our election. You want to talk about election interference? Elon Musk is fully trying to interfere in our election by the propaganda that he's doing for Trump and the Republican Party. Where's Matt Taibbi? Right? Where's Matt Taibbi? Where's Michael Schellenberger? They're not on the case. Where are the newest Twitter files? Of course. Okay, so let's get back to the Q&A. Send your questions, fam. New law. Yes, I did see that. Did you see the new law? Well, it's not a law, it's a DOD directive authorizing the US military to use lethal force against average citizens. Yes, I did. I actually made a video about it. It's on my TikTok and other social medias. It's insane. It's insane. Especially if the Democrats are as worried about Trump winning as they say they are. Why would you make that the DOD directive? Why? Why would you do that? I know. Well, that's another thing, Fuchan, about the feeling so like hopeless about this election in the state of our country is exactly that. Because it's like, oh, Democrats, Republicans, let's fight, let's do this. But like where is my option? Just like at a national level for the people that aren't total cucks to the Israeli regime. Where's that option? What made me choose De La Cruz is that well, one, she's going to be on my ballot. Jill Stein is not even on my ballot. Jill Stein's campaign did not get on the ballot in New York State. I live in New York, and Claudia De La Cruz will be on my ballot. And I also chose Claudia De La Cruz because I just think that she is a better politician. And by that, I mean, I think that she has done a better job at connecting with grassroots folks, people on the ground, protests, organizations. Like, yes, I know Jill Stein goes to protests and stuff, but the Green Party is a really big party and they have been around for a while. And yet they had no on the ground presence in New York. They had no infrastructure in New York. So the way I look at it is, why am I going to vote for you and try to help you when you haven't helped yourselves? You haven't helped yourselves. And you have no infrastructure. You have no national infrastructure. You haven't been. I know a lot of people got mad at like AOC for saying they haven't been building their power, but she wasn't wrong about that. Maybe it was the wrong messenger in AOC to make that statement, but the message itself was not totally wrong. The Green Party has been around for a long time and it is not built enough infrastructure or institutional power at any of the other levels of government. And you can't blame it all on Democrats, because a lot of Green Party people will be like, yeah, but the Democrats sue to get them off the ballot. Yeah, that's true. They do. And that's fucked up. But at the same time, take some accountability. Like, they're like, oh, well, the Green Party won, a certain amount of elections. They've barely won any state or local elections in years. In years, certainly not in New York. And then, so that's mostly the reasons, but also like, find somebody different besides, Jill Stein, who's run 500 times and doesn't even know how many people we have in the House of Representatives. Like, I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to like be very unfair to her. I know she's been unfairly attacked in a lot of ways, but like, that was embarrassing. And also, the other major thing that swayed me away from voting for the Green Party was finding out that they had the person, I forget her name, so if somebody wants to put it in chat, they can. But there was a woman who Jill Stein had initially picked as her VP, and the woman had asked them, okay, I'll accept being your VP, but if I do, if the Harris campaign agrees to stop funding the Israeli regime and put an arms embargo on them, will we agree to drop out and endorse her? And to me, I thought that was a good idea. That's called using your leverage, okay? Because what's our goal here? What's our goal? If our goal is, it depends on your goal. Some people's goal, and apparently Jill Stein's goal, is to try to build up the Green Party. But if your main goal is to stop the genocide, Nora Erakat, thank you. But if your main goal is to stop the genocide, why would you oppose doing that? Why would you oppose doing that? Again, I get why Jill Stein said no. They wanted to be able to keep ballot access. They wanted to build out, what they were doing on the national level for the presidential election. So I understand why she did it, but I still don't agree with it. If our main priority, at least for me as a voter, is to stop the genocide, and that is what I'm basing my vote off of, then the fact that Nora Erakat said, I'll be your vice presidential nominee, but if the Harris campaign says that they will stop the genocide, will we drop out and endorse them? And Jill Stein said no. So why would I vote for you? Why would I vote for you? I'm not a Green Party member. I have no loyalty to the Greens. The only reason why I would even consider voting for them is to stop the genocide or to pressure the Democrats to try to stop the genocide or to show my disapproval of the genocide. And when Nora brought that up, she's like, nah. Okay, well then nah to voting for you. So sorry, that was really long, but those are the reasons why I chose Claudia over Jill Stein. Because really, in the end, that is what mattered to me and was ultimately the deciding factor in my vote. Because let's just say for a second that Jill Stein and the Green Party said yes to that. Think about the incredible amount of pressure that would have put on the Democrats. Just think about that. If Nora Ericat had joined Jill Stein's campaign, had come together, and the Green Party, with the couple million people that they will get across the country, as well as what could be deciding votes in the swing states like Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania. What is the other one? North Carolina. North Carolina is not really a swing state. But of those, tens of thousands of voters across those 5 swing states, and you had a couple million Green Party people pledging that they would drop out and endorse you if that was, you were going to change your stance on Gaza and you were going to commit to an arms embargo and stopping the genocide, that would have been a game changer. That would have been a game changer. I guarantee you, they're at least the people, again, because there are some people that are in the Green Party. It's not about that. They just hate the Democrats and they don't like the two-party system, so they weren't going to vote for Kamala Harris anyway. But there were many people like me who don't have any loyalty to the Green Party and who only would have considered voting for them when it came to what their response would be to the genocide and to register my disapproval. So when I found out that Nora had said that and she declined it, I was like, okay, you have a right. You totally have a right. It's your party to decline it. But then I have a right as a voter to say I have no interest in voting for you then. So that's where I stand. I know it's going to make a lot of Green Party people mad, but that's where I stand. So yes, I will be voting for Claudia de la Cruz for those of you who just came in. All right. Next question. Let's see. Most Americans want an arms embargo. Yeah, they do. Like, polling is clear. Like, not only do a plurality of Americans want it, and that's all Americans, that includes Republicans, but in the Democratic Party, it's like 70% or more. Did I miss any member comments? And like I said before, and I'll probably continue to say, that and that I'll probably continue to say that I will not and do not judge anybody for who they want to vote for and I understand the concerns that a lot of people have. You don't owe your vote to anybody. And when I say I'm not judging anybody for their vote, I mean like on the left side or the Democratic side, not the Republicans. If you're voting for a Republican, I am kind of judging you, low-key. But whether or not you're voting for Claudia de la Cruz, like I will be, or whether or not you're voting for Jill Stein or Kamala Harris, I will not judge you for that. I understand why people are voting for Jill Stein, why those who are. And I understand why the people voting for Kamala Harris are. But folks need to understand why we're voting the way that we are. Samuel Rice, do you think that Trump winning over Harris? No, I don't. I don't think it would be better. I think that a lot of people think that, but I think the country will collapse before that happens. And honestly, like, it's probably going to collapse anyhow. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but for those of you who live in the United States, but like we're on that trajectory. Like the United States will collapse. And by that, I don't mean like the actual physical country is going to collapse. I mean our power. Like the United States is like the hegemonic superpower in the world will collapse. Every empire ends. I think that's going to happen before, people wake up and realize that like they need to like vote against Republicans, because unfortunately there are too many dumb motherfuckers in this country that think that voting for Trump is somehow anti-establishment. Come on, 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 come on. Trump has literally bragged about how he's going to cut taxes for the rich, do deregulation for the rich and corporations, and take money, millions and millions of dollars. He literally said to oil executives, give me money and I'll do all the drilling and anything you want. Hey, old bony bird. How's it going? Oh yeah, he also got $100 million from Miriam Adelson, who is a lunatic Zionist. And the reason why the embassy was moved to Jerusalem, the American embassy. Yeah, I just don't think that a lot of people will notice or care until like the collapse has already begun. Trump, exactly. He is. It's very annoying that people try to make him anti-establishment. Like Playboy was president already. Like, and it's also such idiotic and shallow commentary because they think he's anti-establishment because just the way he talks. Like, because he talks not like a politician, they think that makes him anti-establishment. Please, please, please. Especially since the only thing he did during his administration was establishment shit. The only thing Trump did during his administration was tax cuts for the rich and deregulation of banks and corporations so that banks can gamble with your money more and cause another financial crisis, and oil companies can poison your water without consequence. He shits on a gold toilet, for God's sake. True. The smugness of liberals should never be underestimated. To them, it's a team sport. They will support anything their team does, even the genocide of Palestine. Trump will escalate the conflict. It's true that liberals are really, really smug and they act like it's a team sport, but Republicans act like it's a team sport too. And do I think that Trump will escalate with Palestine? Yes, I do. But also, so are the Democrats. Like the Democrats are literally letting them escalate now. You know what? Honestly, it reminds me of, and I'm not saying that Trump wouldn't escalate it and try to make it worse. They can always try to make it worse. But what I don't like is people just saying, oh, Trump's going to make it worse. Trump's going to be worse, as like a way to kind of dismiss how bad it is now. Like it reminds me of when Zionists will be like, they don't want Israel to exist. If they could make us go away, if they could genocide us, they would. And they're talking in all these theoretical terms when the genocide of the Palestinians is happening actually now. Like, they'll be like, yeah, but what if we did this? Theoretically, the Palestinians could. Cool story. Because the reality that we're living in right now is that the Palestinians are the ones under siege, the ones that are being genocided, the ones that are being occupied, not you. So that's what it reminds me of when like Democrats will be like, well, Trump will be worse. Okay. I believe that. I do. I believe that Trump can always make things worse. The Republicans can always make things worse. But that is a little bit awkward and weird to say under the administration that is amplifying, supporting, and overseeing our quick escalation into what could be World War III and the annexation of North Gaza. Trump's fake anti-establishment stance works with the public because many people are detached from politics and respond to yeah, that's true. And a lot of people, yeah, I think actually that gets lost a lot too, is how many, because we're talking about voting in the election so much, and our system is so polarized, our country's so polarized that we talk about this a lot very intensely. But a lot of people, especially if you don't live in the country, may not know that half our population doesn't vote at all. Like, they're the biggest group of people, more so than Democrats, more so than Republicans, more so than independents, are people who don't vote at all, who are eligible to vote. That's also why I always think it's hilarious when right-wingers like Elon Musk and Republicans will try to claim that there's all this voter fraud. I'm like, first of all, voter fraud is not a thing. That's why they never have any evidence for it. Not a shred. But also I like it because it's this idea that people are running down and banging down the doors to vote. No, bro. You know how hard it is to try to get people to give a shit in this country and vote? So many people in this country don't even vote at all. I'm not worried about voter fraud. I'm worried about trying to get people to vote. But it's true. They're detached. They're, they don't pay attention to politics at all. And all they see of Trump is like, clips of him talking like a normal person. And so they think he's anti-establishment. He's not. But I kind of get that at least, though, Iori. I get why, like, a regular person in the country who's just, like, working a 9-to-5 job, they're not politically engaged, they only see Trump occasionally, like, on social media. I get why they would think, oh, he must be anti-establishment. I don't get, like, engaged Republican voters that think that are, like, engaged voting, a part of the political scene or process. And they're like, yeah, because he's anti-establishment. I'm like, what planet are you living on? No, really, what planet are you living on? Donald Trump was just on a podcast talking about how we needed to treat American corporations better, like Apple. Really? You want to give more special treatment to our already insanely corrupt corporations? Okay. Anti-establishment. Lamau. Thank you, Mohi. And exactly, Young. All the voter suppression, especially in the South. Yes. But then they pretend like voter fraud is a thing. Like, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. Just like the Republicans. Okay, let me tell you guys something really quick. The reason why the Republicans have to make up crises is because nothing they stand for people like. You know what I mean? Like, Democrats lie, but they lie and say they're going to do things that people like. Like, Democrats will lie and say they're going to pass a $15 minimum wage. They didn't. They're going to give everybody, what is it? Not single payer, a public option is what Biden said he would do when he got into office for healthcare. They didn't do it. They'll lie, but they'll lie about things that people actually want. Whereas Republicans don't stand for anything popular. Like, regular people don't want more tax cuts for the rich. Regular people don't want more tax cuts for corporations. Regular people don't want you deregulating them so that they poison your food and water. And that is all Republicans stand for. So, because they don't actually stand for anything people want, they have to make up shit. They just make shit up. Oh, voter fraud, migrant crisis, there is no migrant crisis. They made that up, and they make it up every election cycle. Every election cycle, the caravan is coming. They make all of it up because, again, they don't have anything to run on because their policies are incredibly unpopular with the public. So They run on fear-mongering about non-existent migrant crises, and they run on lies about voter fraud when they've never produced a scintilla of evidence of it. Funny how Trump is only now embracing voting in mail-in ballots. I know. It's so funny. Trump always votes by mail. He voted by mail in 2020. He voted by mail this year. It's amazing. It's a form of extreme narcissism with, I don't know, paralysis and processing the agency, the outside world. Yeah. Yeah. Remember the caravan? Who was that name of that? Does anybody remember the name of the woman who ran in Arizona? And she kept going in 2018. She lost to, I think, Kirsten Sinema. Or was it Kirsten Sinema or was it John Kelly? She ran against one of them in 2018, and she kept saying, yeah, we got to be really worried about immigration and the caravan and the caravan. Do you guys remember that? What was her name? No, it wasn't Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake was 2020. No, it was not Carrie Lake. Carrie Lake was 2020. This was 2018. No, you guys. Chat, you're all saying Carrie Lake. It was not Carrie Lake. I got to find her now. It's going to bug me. YouTube. What's her name? No, her name was like, I don't know what her name was, like Shelly something or Shirley something. Shelly Mick. I feel like she had Mick in her last name. Martha McSally. Yes. Good job, Foho. You got it. You were right. Martha McSally. I was right about her having a Mick in her name. She's a shame to the Irish people. Martha McSally.
Well, look, this caravan is just an indication of the loopholes in our law that need to be closed and that our border is not secure. Every single day, little mini caravans are coming across, taking advantage of the fact that they know that if they're an unaccompanied minor, we cannot return them immediately unless they're from Mexico or Canada. That if it's an adult with a kid, that they'll be released into the interior of the United States. Last month alone, it was 16,500 people that are in family units that have been released into the interior of the United States. It's overwhelming. Cities like Yuma, which we'll be visiting in the next few days. This is not okay. I think most people, regardless of their political party, will realize that it's not okay that thousands of people that we have no idea who they are can just show up and demand that they can come into the country while millions of people are waiting in line to do it legally.
We would have preferred to get her latest thoughts on
How
that
annoying.
issue.
That's not the one. I was looking for a specific clip where she was being interviewed. I wonder if it would be on Twitter. And she's like, on the caravan.
And you guys are asking me about it in this top race in the country. It's just ridiculous. Well, can we talk about economic opportunity?
Do you know if any of your staff is getting their health care through the ACA?
Dennis, can we please talk about the things that matter to most voters instead of repeating the Arizona Democrat Party press releases? I mean, this is
It wasn't a press release from the party.
It's ridiculous. Do you have anything to talk about, like the caravan?
Yes! That's it. This is the one, you guys. This is what I was referencing. This is what I was referring to. First of all, you know what I love? I love how she goes, yeah, right, Iori, toy caravans, lol. Okay, but I love how she goes, can we please talk about the things that the American people actually care about, like the caravan and not healthcare? Like, the guy was asking her about healthcare. What do you think Americans care more about? Healthcare or the caravan? That was never mentioned again. The caravan was not mentioned again after this election was over until 2022. Because that was in 2018. Oh, in 2020. My point is, it's every fucking election cycle. Every election cycle, they do it. They do it. Every election cycle, they'll be like, the caravan's coming, the Venezuelans, whatever. But then as soon as the election is over, they drop it because they know that immigration is actually not a crisis. And it's funny that she's like, and the caravan, when like no one cared about that. Like she got her ass handed to her. Republicans got wiped out in 2018. No one gave a shit about the caravan. What actually mattered to people was healthcare. Because remember, in 2018, that was right around the time that Trump was trying to destroy the Affordable Care Act. It was in 2017, right before John McCain died, that he voted against the Republicans and was the single vote not to completely destroy the Affordable Care Act. So yeah, Americans care a lot about healthcare, and the fact that she was acting like he was just trying to troll and not talk about the real issues is amazing. All right, we got to watch it one more time. It's so good.
Wow. She doesn't think.
That's processy, and you guys are asking me about it in this top race in the country. It's just ridiculous.
Well,
Can we
you know
talk
if
about
any of your-
economic
Do
opportunity?
you know if any of your staff is getting their health care through the ACA?
Dennis, can we please talk about the things that matter to most voters instead of repeating the Arizona Democrat Party press releases? I mean, this is
It wasn't a press release
ridiculous.
from the party.
It's ridiculous, honestly. Do you have anything to talk about, like the caravan?
Wow.
Like the caravan. It's actually embarrassing that Twitter is starting to have a better search engine than like Google and like TikTok. Like I don't know what happened to Google, but it sucks. Like their search engine now. It used to be so good. Wait, seriously? She had Usher? Why? Live and rally. Al Jazeera English.
Gaza Strip, and a strike that's killed, as I mentioned, as many as 100 Palestinians. Dozens of others have been injured, and the death toll is expected to rise.
Wow.
Northern Gaza has been under Israeli siege for more than 15 days. So no food, water, medicine able to get in there. The United Nations is warning Palestinians are being forced to endure, quote, unspeakable horrors. Of course, we'll be covering this in more detail as the evening goes on. That's it for me, Neve Barker. Don't forget our website, much more on all of this developing news. Do stay with us. The news continues after Dying Earth. Stay with us here.
All right, I'll be right back, you guys. Hold on a second. I gotta pee. I forgot I was like taking my nails off like before I got on here. Yeah, I know. I actually realized that I should have watched that first, you know, just to make sure that what it was about. I'm going to have to read more about it later when I, you know, and also like go over it and figure out how to put clips together without showing anything. Hey, Donald. How's it going? What did I miss? She ushered in. She sounds like she's paid. She was paid by the Koch brothers, like straight up. Just chilling like a villain. I haven't heard that one in a while. Faith Sultan Mohammed wrote, you have a hot body too, LOL. Yeah, apparently you haven't seen my Instagram. I used to do I haven't done it as much recently, but I used to do like thirst trap photos all the time. All the time I did. If you go far enough back on my Instagram, if you go far enough back on my Instagram, you will find lots of photos of me very dressed up in thirst traps. I'll be bringing them back eventually, but you know, I've been busy with the news. Also, it's you know, and the news content and the content that I've been making over the last year. I used to do show us up. Yeah, I just said, O'Day, anybody can see them if you just go far enough back on my Instagram. Like if you just scroll far enough back on my Instagram to like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, they're all there. It was more like I stopped doing them because I started getting obsessed with making content about current events and politics. But I used to do fashion content and makeup content. But we're too lazy. Oh, well, you know, it's fine. I don't mind. I don't care. It's cool. Also, oh, I just lost my train of thought. All right, let's get back to the questions, fam. Why is it so dark in here? It's so dark in here. It's like depressing that it's going to get dark. Donald, what type of music do you listen to? My own. I listen to my own music only. All right. Anybody else? Because there's a lot of people in here from different platforms. Does anybody else have questions about the election, about voting, about my voting? I think most people, I think I got it all. I think I said it all. But just in case, I think I got it all. I think I said it all. I think I made myself clear as to why I'm voting the way that I am and who I'm voting for. And I think I said everything, but just in case anybody else had any other questions. Hey, there we go. Who am I voting for? Yeah, because there are, yeah, exactly. There are a couple people that weren't in here when I was talking about it earlier. I am voting for Claudia de la Cruz. Oh, thanks, theater. Yeah, it is awesome, isn't it? You know what I want? I told chat this earlier. I want a shirt that says my name in Arabic. Yeah, I'll be voting for Claudia de la Cruz. I'm not voting for Kamala Harris. And I'm not voting for Jill Stein. Clearly, because I'm voting for Kamala. I'm for Kamala. No, I'm not. Because I'm voting for Claudia de la Cruz. Figure drawing. Oh, you're voting third party? Dang. Yes, figurehead or figure drawing. I am, but you know, you vote your conscience. Vote for you who you think is the person that would be best for the job. And also, if it makes you feel any better, figure, I'm in New York, so my state's going to go to Kamala Harris regardless of how I vote. Let me explain something to people who are not in the United States. Our elections are decided by 5 states. That's it. Because of our bullshit, wait, figure drawing, you said it doesn't make you feel better or it does? You're not voting for Trump? Who knew? Yeah, so our elections are decided by like 5 states. So for anybody who is not in the United States, who doesn't know, maybe we have an electoral college. It's a joke, it's a scam, it's bullshit. But it should be abolished. Like we should, get rid of it so we can actually have fair voting in this country. But yeah, so as a result of our electoral college, for the most part, it really is not going to matter on an individual level how you vote because your state electors is going to go to the person that wins your state. And in my case, in New York is a blue state. It is going to go to Kamala Harris regardless of how I vote. Where the votes are really going to matter is Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona. I know it. Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. What is the last one I'm forgetting? There is a 5th one. Georgia. Thank you. Georgia. Thank you, Young. Those 5 states are the ones that are going to decide the election. They always do. Think about it this way. South Carolina might be in play, but we're not sure. Oh, Nevada. Thank you. There's 6. Nevada is one of them too. You're right. It's Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. It's those 6 states that decide the election. So if it makes you feel any better, I am in a blue state. My state will go to Kamala Harris. It's a joke of a system we have. Like the electoral college is a joke. Like that's not how shit should work. But that's the reason why Republicans will never want to get rid of it because Republicans can't win an election without it. Republicans cannot win an election without it. Because they always lose by millions and millions and millions of votes. The Republican Party has not won a national presidential election except for once in the last 50 years. 50 years. They won one popular vote election, and that was George W. Bush in 2004. And the only reason why he won that was because of 9/11. Yeah. So if we did elections the way that we should do them by popular vote, because that's how democracy is supposed to work, and that's how we do voting on every single other election. Like every Senate election, state election, city council elections, we do it by popular vote. It's the presidential election is the only one we don't do that for. Okay? So it's a joke and it's a scam. But again, the reason why it's like that is because Republicans have a vested interest in keeping it that way because they haven't won a popular vote election except for George W. Bush in 2004. Wasn't that one miscounted in Florida? Yeah, miscounted. Al Gore won and the Supreme Court cheated on behalf of the right wing. Yes, and George W. Bush also fear-mongered a lot about gay marriage in 2004, and that definitely helped. You know why it helped? Because they had it as a ballot initiative. Yeah, they 100% cheated in 2000. Like, I like how the Republicans like to talk about voter fraud this and voter fraud that and election interference. Where that started, really, where that really got kicked off was in 2000 when they stole the election from Gore. Anyway, we should have popular vote elections, but we don't. Like in 2000, Gore won the popular vote. In 2000, and obviously Obama won re-election both times. In 2016, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. And in 2020, Joe Biden won the popular vote. But this is what I mean when I say the Republicans want to keep the electoral college, because it's the only way they can win, and how this election will only be decided by 6 states, is that Joe Biden won the popular vote by 7 million votes, right? 7 million votes, like a good amount. But he only actually won by about 45,000 votes across 3 swing states. Like how we decide our elections in the electoral college, his vote margin was 45,000. Oh, I know. People who defend the electoral college are clowns. Like actual clowns. Like you don't know anything if you're defending. It's to give representation of the red state. No, it's not. Shut up. And you don't even think that. It's a vestige of slavery. Yeah, this is also what I want to encourage you guys to do too. Regardless of how you are voting, make sure you pay attention to your ballot initiatives. Like, seriously, make sure that you pay attention to your ballot initiatives. Every state has different ballot initiatives. Some don't even have any, but make sure you look them up. Like, look them up, look at what the positions are, because you don't want to get fooled. Because parties lie all the time about their ballot initiatives to make it sound like to try to dupe people into voting against their own interests. So, like, make sure that you're voting on those ballot initiatives. Yeah, I agree. Ranked choice voting needs to be the way to go. Bring back something like Citizens United. Nah, Young, we don't want Citizens United. That was a disaster. Some state initiatives are designed exactly. That's the reason why I said you guys need to study. Like, if you're voting in the US, if you're voting by mail, it's easier because you have time. But if you're going to be voting in person, make sure that you study that shit. You look up your ballot initiatives in your state, because a lot of times the way they market it is purposefully to confuse you and to fearmonger. They did that in California. California had a ballot initiative that would have protected and given health care to gig workers like Uber drivers and, like Grubhub delivery drivers. And the propaganda campaign that they ran against it was so effective because they have all the money, guys. Remember, the corporations, the billionaires, the ruling class in this country, they have all the money. So they ran an incredible propaganda campaign that basically tricked a bunch of Californians into thinking that voting against it was the right thing to do. So yeah, definitely be careful about what's on your ballot. Oh, Young, I see what you're saying. You meant to take money out of politics. Yeah, Citizens United was a decision to legalize all like bribery and money in politics. I'll look one up if you want, Maeve. What is our Walton Smith, are Californians stupid? No, I don't think that it's about them being stupid. I think that it's about the power of marketing and propaganda. I do think that people need, but that's why I'm encouraging people to be more proactive about educating yourselves. Be more proactive about educating yourselves, because the propaganda and the marketing, especially around things like ballot initiatives and voting in your local elections, is intense. They spend a lot of money on that. They spend a lot of money on that to trick people. It's all marketing and propaganda. Wait, let me see. Yeah, also in general, I kind of like DSA better than the Green Party at this point. As a side note, I have problems. There are problems I do have with DSA. Like there are issues I have with DSA like you would have issues with anybody, but I do tend to like them more in general. I think that they're at least doing a better job. MKB wrote, probably Trump wins, hope he jails most of the DNC. MKB, are you an American? No. Okay, then never mind. I was about to give you a huge lecture on why saying that was insane and ridiculous, but you're not American, so never mind. um Wait, I wanted to make sure that I didn't miss any member comments. I wonder how people are going to act if Trump wins. I'll try not to trip that much. Honestly, I don't think people are going to freak out if he were to win as much as you would think. I mean, sure, there's going to be people who are going to freak out, but do I think there's going to be like riots? No. No, I don't think there are going to be riots. And I'll tell you why. Because Democrats are generally a lot more against violence than the right is, but also liberals are not really into that kind of violence and rioting. Even some factions of the left that are okay with that kind of protest, they already have the view that if Trump were to win, they wouldn't be surprised. So I don't think that they would be like shocked by it. No, I mean, I hope Trump loses. Obviously, I hope Trump loses because Trump is garbage. And it's not just Trump. It's not just Trump. Like, J.D. Vance is a psycho. He's a psychopath. They're fascists. Democrats are only against violence on U.S. soil. Yeah, exactly. That's true. True. That is correct. But the Supreme Court, which I feel like should be abolished, I wish it would be abolished. Machine said, I don't see any difference between Trump and Kamala. He's just a louder fascist. I think there is a difference between them, but it depends on what you're talking about, right? So it depends on what you're talking about it depends on what you're talking about when it comes to issues, right? So like if let's just say, Masin, I don't know where you're from, if you're an American, what your issues are that you're concerned about, but a lot of people who don't think that the Democrats are any different than the Republicans, well, they tend not to care about the same issues. Like if you care about trans people like I do, then you know there's a difference between Republicans and Democrats. If you care about the environment, then the Democrats suck and they've also done a lot of damage to the environment, but they're not as horrible as the Republicans are. And if you care about democracy, although LOL, like we're really living in one, Republicans are worse. But if you're talking about foreign policy, which I get, they're not different. And the problem with them not being on different on foreign policy is that that's what the president has the most control over directly. Donut Apostle, the Democrats aren't doing shit regarding the environment. Yeah, I mean, they've done like a little, but it's not even worth getting into because it's actually pretty pathetic and just around the edges and just kind of stopping the Republicans from doing certain things. But I hear you. They've also done a lot of fucked up shit in the environment since Biden has gotten to office too, including but not limited to doing more drilling than any other president in history and approving the Willow Project and shit like that. Well, Mohi, it's what really changes under a new president is what can be done at the administrative level and the federal or executive level, like foreign policy. And that is the problem, is that I think what you're trying to say, or maybe what you mean, maybe I'm wrong, is that yes, when it comes to foreign policy, they're not different. They're the same. It's a uniparty. When it comes to the military industrial complex, yeah, they're the same. It's a uniparty. And the reason why that's so problematic is because when it comes to foreign policy, that is what the president directly has the most power and say over. When it comes to laws, those things are supposed to go through Congress. Like Democrats and Republicans in the House of Representatives and in the Senate, they're the ones that make the laws that the president can then either sign or veto. But when it comes to foreign policy, a lot of that is unilateral. It wasn't supposed to be like that, but over time, it has become that. Yes, I used to. Wait. Where did I miss this comment? Catherine said, I'm an artist. I would love to work with you. Drop your Discord. Catherine, if you go to my my YouTube page, my Discord is in that link, but it's also in my link tree, which is also on my YouTube and also on my Twitter, which is the same handle. It's too bad that this country is incapable of electing a real vote. Yeah, seriously. Seriously. That's going to take time, but that's why we all have to continue to push. We all have to continue to fight and push because it's unfortunately not going to be an overnight process. Most of us didn't even know about it more than a year ago. So, or I mean, until a year ago. So it's going to be a lot of work, but we have to be committed to it. You know, it's like I said at the beginning of the stream, voting is one day and then we move on. You know, we have to keep fighting. A lot of the liberals, they want to just vote and go back to brunch. Like they just want to vote and go back to sleep. But we know, those of us who care about what's happening in the world, that voting is just one decision on one day and that the work has to always be happening. The fight is always happening. We have to keep building movements and organizing every day. Where's it's really not. It's really not, you know. It's really not a democracy, actually. You're right. We have a semblance of democracy. I'm not going to say we don't have any, like that'd be a little dramatic. It's not that we don't have any, you know, we're not living in, you know, like Russia, but it's definitely not as robust as we like to act like it is. But Donald, you're right. It's there, but I feel like it's not as robust as we like to pretend it is. And also, there are a lot of people in the country that don't utilize it. That's also true because a lot of people don't vote. And honestly, I think that one of the reasons why a lot of people don't, well, there's two reasons why I think a lot of people don't vote. There is the valid reason, and that's because a lot of people feel completely disillusioned by how corrupt our system is, and they feel like voting doesn't matter. And I still believe in voting. I still believe voting is important, that we should use the tools that we have, but I understand why people feel that way and why people feel hopeless and that they don't want to vote because they feel like our system is so corrupt and it's owned and controlled by billionaires and corporations and money in politics and elites. And that's true. It is. It is. Our system is so corrupt. Like, it's incredibly corrupt. So I get why people don't vote. But the other reason why people don't vote, is because some Americans are really just comfortable in the existence they live in, and they don't really feel like the need to engage or care to engage. If the country was more dangerous, people, I think, would. But Americans have a certain level of safety and comfort that they take for granted, that they don't feel they need to vote because they think, oh, well, it doesn't affect me. And that's the bad reason. Faith Sultan said you need a holiday in Turkey. That'd be awesome. I do need to go on a holiday in Turkey, okay? I should go there to that way if I go to Turkey, or if I were to go to like Egypt or something, I would come back with all new teeth and an entire new face, okay? Okay. I am Blakely. Is that your Discord? Yes. Yeah, don't get it twisted. I have read that plastic surgery and cosmetic dentistry is cheaper in places like Turkey. So if I went to Turkey, I would come back totally new face, who dis, new teeth, who dis. Senate. Theater of the absurd. Senate and Congress are the only democracy Americans get to participate in. Yes, that's true. There is some semblance of democracy, but I also get what people mean when they say we don't actually have a democracy, because we don't actually even get choices often into who those people running for Senate and Congress are, right? Like, they're vetted first by like AIPAC and by other money interests in politics. They decide, the moneyed interests, the rich people, the corporations, the elites, the Israeli regime. They're the ones who decide who gets to run for Congress, who gets to run for the Senate in the first place. Because at the end of the day, our country is controlled and operated by billionaires and corporations. So we get democracy, kind of, but it's after they've vetted it and decided what kind we can have. Does that make sense? Or did that make sense? What do you think is the ultimate perfect solution to all of this? What part, America or Palestine? I don't know what's going to happen to America. I don't see it being good, though. Like, I feel like America has been on a slow downward spiral since the beginning of this century, and it's only accelerating and will only continue to accelerate. I think that the United States is a dying empire, and it's going to continue to, it's only downhill from here, baby. I don't know, though. When people are like, what's going to happen? Like, I can't predict the future. I think that all we can do is try to fight for each other, Like, all we can do is try to fight for each other and make sure that we're standing up for each other and standing up for what's right and fighting for what's right. But like, at the end of the day, like, we don't We don't know what's going to happen. Did you know that Kuwait was the closest thing to the only democracy in the Middle East? Still 5 or 6 months ago when the new prince is the closest thing to democracy. I know, I always laugh when they're like, only democracy in the Middle East is the Israeli regime. Lamau. It's not a democracy. Okay. Hi, Queen. Please make a video to shed light. I will. I will. I absolutely will. I will also make one on what's been happening in northern Gaza generally, but also what happened today. I just need to read more about it and get a better understanding of everything that's happened. That O'Day brought up earlier, the attack on northern Gaza. Yes, American privilege is a real thing. It is. It is. I feel like some Americans try to weasel out of that, you know, like they don't want to acknowledge it. They'll be like, oh, I'm not privileged as an American. I'm this insert whatever excuse. And I'm not saying that living here isn't, you know, shitty a lot, and that there isn't a lot of like there isn't a lot of like really, really hurting people and struggling people and poor people and marginalized people. I mean, look at what's happening in the South right now. Insane. Insane. That's not what I mean. It doesn't mean that people don't struggle. What I mean is there is a certain baseline of freedom and privilege and comfort that we have in the West and in America more specifically that we just take for granted because we've always had it. Like somebody in the UK, because they don't have free speech laws, got arrested for just talking online about Palestine. That's crazy. Doesn't mean the censorship here isn't insane. Censorship here is insane around Palestine. And they're trying to pass laws. They're trying to pass the Anti-Semitism Awareness Act through Congress. But as it stands right now, at least right now in this country, you can't get arrested for just talking about it right now. The Matrix level of democracy. True. Why are you not running for any race? You should. Because they would never let me. Are you kidding me? AIPAC would take out like tens of millions of dollars worth of ads on me. Look at what they did to Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush. Yeah. They'd never let me in that club. I understand. Oh, O'Day, you're referring to America. Yeah, I don't know. All I can tell you, O'Day, is that I don't think that it's going in a positive direction. I think America is this way. We're going downhill. And I don't think a lot of Americans are ready for it. I feel pre-election is not really the issue. It's post-election certification. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching John Oliver yesterday and they were saying something about Georgia requiring hand ballot counts. Yeah, no, it's going to be a mess. And it's going to be a mess because of Republicans. Republicans are going to do exactly what they did in 2020. They're going to lie and they're going to say the election was stolen before it's even over. And they're going to do all the shenanigans they did in 2020 where they created all this drama and like fake outrage and claims of voter fraud and ballot boxes. And you guys remember Rudy Giuliani in the press conference with the makeup dripping down his face and Sidney Powell being like, yeah, the election was interfered with by Hugo Chavez and Venezuela. And like, it was insane. It was insane. The bullshit that the Republicans pulled after the election. And this is all before January 6th. Okay. This was before January 6th. And they pulled that kind of chicanery before the election. Like, so I'm with you, old Boney Bird. I think that that is actually what I'm dreading. I'm dreading post-election because even if Kamala Harris wins, just like in 2020, they're going to lie and lie and lie. They're going to say that the election was stolen. They're already starting to try to prep for it now. They're like, oh, voter fraud. They're going to steal the election. Voter fraud. They're going to steal the election. Elon Musk is paying people to like get ballots. Paying people. Embarrassing. He like moved to Pennsylvania so he could campaign and do propaganda for Trump. That's why knowing who you're voting for matters. Don't rely on what political ads tell you, but people don't research who they're voting for. That's true. That's true. That's why, like I said, if you are voting in this election, regardless of who you're voting for, make sure that you are learning about the candidate that you're voting for and that you look at what is on your ballot this year, what initiatives, and research the initiatives on your ballot so that, you know, you're educated going into it about what it is that you're voting on. What would you do if I had the power? I would abolish the Electoral College. I would abolish the Supreme Court. I would make it so that we lived in direct democracy where every single person got one vote and that's it. I would ban money in politics. Money in politics has probably been one of the single biggest destroyers of America, has been money in politics. The insane greed of corporations and rich people and elites. They straight up buy our elections now. Like Elon Musk is unironically, literally trying to buy the election. His entire Twitter page, like Elon Musk's entire Twitter page is just propaganda for Trump and the Republicans. It's just propaganda for Trump and the Republicans. But it's not just him. It's not just the billionaires. It's the corporations too. And it's also the foreign government, like the Israeli regime. So you have these three prongs of corruption that control America, right? You have corporations, multinational corporations that don't have any loyalty to this country. They don't have any allegiance to the United States, but because of their money influencing our politicians and buying our politicians, they have power. And then you have the elite billionaires, the really, really rich people. When I talk about elite billionaires, I'm not talking about regular rich people like actors or singers, okay? I'm talking about dark money billionaires like the Koch brothers, who put tens of billions of dollars in dark money into super PACs and think tanks and initiatives that they name Americans for Prosperity. And they use that influence to buy elections. And then the third part is foreign governments that we approve of, because everybody in America cries if they think Russia's interfering in our election, but then they'll take bribes from Egyptian leaders, Azerbaijan, and of course, the most influential in our politics that buys all of our politicians is the Israeli regime. Every single person, for the most part, in our Congress is bribed to vote the way that the Israeli regime wants. That's another thing. If you're voting in our elections, check whether or not the Congress people you're voting for, senators or regular House of Representatives members, check to make sure that they are not funded by AIPAC. If your Senate member or Congress member is given money and takes money from AIPAC, you shouldn't vote for them. And if that leaves it so you don't have a Republican or Democrat, write someone in. Vote for the independent. Vote for the Green Party person. We have to reject AIPAC in any of the Israeli lobbies. AIPAC is only, we talk about AIPAC the most because they're the most wealthy, and Kofi. Okay, Ko-Fi is the place that you can go and support me and become a monthly patron on. Kufi, I think, is the other major Israeli regime donor in the United States, organization that helps buy politicians. So yeah, you should vote against anybody that takes money from the Israeli regime. And like I said, that's not just AIPAC. AIPAC is the most well-known, but there are many of them. And so to get back to O'Day's question, I would abolish and make it illegal for any foreign country to give money to politicians, for any corporation to give money to politicians, and for money in politics in general. Ban it. Because again, you don't live in a democracy if your vote doesn't count as much as a rich person's. And let's be real, that's how our country operates. Your vote, if you're a regular person, does not matter as much as Elon Musk's because you don't have as much money as him. And the kicker is, he's not even fucking American. I don't think he is. Let me double check that actually before I keep talking. Is Elon Musk an American citizen? Okay, JK. He is a US citizen now. Okay, whatever. But regardless, American citizen or not, you should not be able to use your money to get more of a say in our elections. And that's what I mean when I say we don't live in a democracy. Because in a democracy, you can't buy votes. In a democracy, it's one person, one vote, right? In a democracy, a real democracy, it's one person, one vote. But in America, in the United States of America, if you are rich, your vote matters more than a regular person. That's not democracy. The Electoral College, that's not democracy. All right, let me catch up on some of these comments. I'll be reading all member comments and super chat comments first, of course, but I'll try to get to more. Surge, yes, sure. Yeah, it's going to be a disaster. I'm not looking forward to it. And that's the other thing that makes it so shitty, that our elections are so close, like electoral college wise, because then they always have an opportunity to claim like there's voter fraud, which there's not. All a campaign needs is funding to run it. We all know it doesn't take. Yeah. Yeah. If you want to know just how insanely corrupt our elections are, just look at how much money is spent in them. It's insane. It's like a money laundering operation. Like, we spend, our presidential elections now are in the billions. Our presidential elections now are in the billions. All it is now is a corporate funding circus. Our elections now are a corporate funded circus, rich people funded circus. Why are our elections, our presidential elections, in the billions of dollars? And even at the congressional level, AIPAC alone spent $24 million in the race against Jamal Bowman. That's insane. That's insane. Why are they spending millions and millions of dollars in that race? Again, because they're corrupt and they wanted an Israeli regime puppet, and Jamal Bowman was pro-Palestine. So they kicked him out of Congress. The old wing of strategists needs to eat. Yeah, for real. The whole Democratic, Republican, strategist, industrial complex is such a grift. Like, those people make so much money to do nothing. Yeah. Yeah, and that's how the Republicans often cheat, is through quote unquote legal ways. Like, Young, you mentioned voting in the election of Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp. Brian Kemp was the Secretary of State, so he should not have been allowed to oversee that election because it's a conflict of interest, but he did. And he had purged like 300,000 people off the voter rolls right before the election. I mean, I don't know what you would call that other than cheating. I believe Bibi Netanyahu will become the next president. He may as well be. Like, genuinely, he may as well be. They treated him, when Netanyahu went to the Congress, they treated him like he was the president. Think about it this way, okay? Before I read this, okay? When Netanyahu went to our Congress to give his BS speech, he got a standing ovation from both sides of the aisle. But when the president does a State of the Union address, if you'll notice, if you've ever seen it, only one side will applaud him. If there is a Republican in office, the Democrats will not applaud anything he says. If there is a Democrat in office, like Biden's last State of the Union, the Republicans will not applaud anything he says, even if it's pro-American, anything that they say. But Netanyahu comes and he gets the bipartisan love treatment. Both sides are cheering for him. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? Democrats hate Republicans. Republican hates Democrats, but they all love Netanyahu. They all love the Israeli regime. Sus. Sus. How long do you think it'll take Trump to start the stop the count again? He'll do it literally on election day. Like, he'll do it on election day. Watch. Groundworks campaigning, like going door to door. You need enough money. Yeah. Kathleen from Twitch, I didn't add you yet because I haven't been in Discord yet. I'll do it after this live. Actually, which I'm going to wrap up now because we've been on for 2 hours and 16 minutes. They're saying that grade. Let's call it how it is. It's an oligarchy. True. No lies detected. George Soros type NGOs, that would be like every NGO, and it's not just George Soros. Like right wingers, like love dark money groups and dark money PACs, loves it. Remember that drunk girl? No. I love when people say, my neighbor was going on and on about how she witnessed fraud. Giuliani's star witness. First of all, Giuliani's a joke. In fact, he lost his law license because of his lies. And he also lost a case. He got sued by the women he smeared in Georgia, and they won the case, as they should have. And then he lied about it after he had already lost. It's like, it's so embarrassing. And they always are like, they're always like, we have the proof. And then you're like, can you show us the proof? And they're like they can never show the proof. Evangelicals are the biggest funders of the Israeli regime in this country. Yes, correct. Cambridge Analytica on the documentary Michael Moore made about Fahrenheit 9/11. Oh, yeah, that is good. Always a good time to watch that. Quiet quitting America. Don't let kids. That is what's happening. People are going to start quiet quitting America. Seriously, because this place is becoming shittier and shittier to live in. That's a problem. That's why more Americans are going to check out. Because like part of the point of America was supposed to be that you have like a good standard of living, and standard of living here actually kind of sucks. Unless you're rich, which most of us aren't. It's a very small percentage of people who are rich here. And they control everything. I think I got sunscreen in my eye. Because you guys were like, why is your face shiny? Because I put sunscreen on. Now it's in my eye. It is illegal for a foreign country to give money to politicians. Yeah, technically, but they do anyway. They just funnel it through PACs. That's what the Supreme Court made legal. They made it legal that you can funnel money through a foreign government as long as it's through a PAC. Or you can funnel money through a billionaire as long as it's through a PAC. Basically, the Supreme Court made it so that bribery is legal in every single way you can think of, shape, or form, unless you actually show up dressed as Scrooge McDuck with a giant money bag that says, I'm doing a corruption. Like, literally, they basically made it all but legal to bribe people, to be incredibly corrupt, unless you actually come out and say, hey, I'm bribing someone. You can get away with it. The Lever. Oh, yeah. The Lever is a great outlet for anybody in chat. If you guys don't follow The Lever on Twitter or subscribe to The Lever, you should. It is a really good outlet, and they do a lot of really good investigative reporting. The Lever is doing a detailed investigative series about money in politics. I listened to the Chapo Trap House rundown on it also. It was really great. Oh, I'll look into that. Yeah, money in politics is really not focused on enough in this country when it is the main issue. Money in politics is a lot of what is at the root of why this country doesn't change. But it's rarely addressed. Thank God that Elon can never run for president. Yeah, watch the Republicans suddenly love immigrants being able to run for president when it's their guy. Republicans don't have any principles. Like, the second Elon Musk says he wants to run for president, the Republicans will be in the House changing the law so that immigrants can run for president. Watch. He outstayed his work visa originally. That's how most immigrants come here. That's how most immigrants come here. There's always all this fear mongering about how they're coming over the border and the caravan. But in reality, most immigrants who come here came here legally on visas and then stayed. I woke up after I served in the military. It's all smoke and mirrors for capitalism. True. True. That's not only true, it is. Everything we do here is smoke and mirrors for money and politics and capitalism. Everything here is smoke and mirrors for capitalism. You are absolutely correct about that. And it's funny that you say after you were in the military, because I know a lot of people who say the same. I know a lot of people who, particularly after the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, served in them and came back and was like, this whole thing is a fucking lie. Northwest nightmares. If Dems lose, they'll blame Palestinians and leftists. Oh, absolutely. They always do. First of all, they always blame the left. They do. They always blame the left. They never take accountability or do any self-reflection as to why they may have lost. They just blame the left. This time, yes, they will blame Arabs. Any Arab that lives in this country, any Muslim, they will blame. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to get... Profound Bandit. I am Blakely. Can you confirm if you're voting for Kamala? I'm not. There's my confirmation. I am not voting for her. Naomi Maine. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. The Houthis should block all money from... FYI, Michigan Muslims are not voting for Democrats at all. I don't know about all of them, but yes, there are a lot that are not. And that is the fault of the Democrats. The Democrats will blame them. They'll blame Michigan Muslims. And for those of you who don't live in the United States, I'm saying it that way because there is a large Muslim and large Palestinian population in Michigan, which happens to be a swing state. Michigan is also the state that has our only Palestinian American person in Congress, Rashida Tlaib. So yeah, there is a large Palestinian population in Michigan and Arab, and a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are not going to vote for the Democrats for absolutely understandable and valid reasons. And then the Democrats are going to blame them when voters in Michigan who are Muslim and Arab said exactly what you needed to do to get their vote, and you chose not to. You were too busy trying to pander to Liz Cheney and Dick Cheney and right-wingers than you were to try to get Muslim votes in Michigan. So, but will they reflect on that? Will they reflect on that? Nah. You forgot that black men definitely blaming black men. Oh yeah, that too. Theater, you're right. They're already blaming black men. Thanks, Obama. May. Oh, it's a callback. Thanks, Obama. Yeah. It was Skolbama, like, who literally just went to like a group of black male voters and was like, listen, why are you sexist? Like, blaming black male voters for being sexist if they didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. Every Arab except DJ Khaled. Yeah, he's honestly, I feel bad for DJ Khaled's kids because he's going to walk around with that shame on his forehead for the rest of his life because of how he just said nothing during this genocide. Nothing. Not just didn't say anything. He like just continued to flash and flaunt his wealth. Like while Palestinians were suffering, and he is Palestinian. Like I would not want to be his kids or his wife. There are tons of Christian Arabs. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I say there are like Lebanese Americans, Iraqi Americans, Iranian Americans. Although for some weird reason that I don't really understand, a lot of Iranian Americans are conservative. I don't really know what that's about. But there's a lot of different kinds of Arab Americans from the complete, total diaspora of the Middle East, Egyptian Americans. I used to work actually with a guy that was Egyptian American when I worked in downtown Manhattan. And a lot of them, I would say most, like the majority, I should say, maybe not most, but the majority vote Democrat. And of course, they're of all different faiths. They're not all Muslim. They're Christian Arabs. I'm just saying specifically in Michigan, I feel like a lot of the Arabs are not going to vote for Kamala Harris, whether they're Muslim or not. Oh, 100% Bill Maher will blame them, but Bill Maher is like a huge Islamophobe. Like, he's just super racist and Islamophobic. So Lamau, did you know that DJ Khaled used to be called Arab Attack and then they changed it right after 9/11? I did not know that. No, I did not know that. Oh my gosh. That was funny. Okay, you guys, I think I'm going to wrap this up. We've been on for about 2.5 hours, but I am going to go live again on Monday. Okay, that's when we're going to go live again. Monday, we'll go live at 5. I'll probably do the same time. But I just want to say thank you for listening to me. And thanks for listening to my perspective on why I am voting the way that I'm voting. I would encourage anyone who's in the United States to vote, regardless of who you vote for. Just, vote your conscience and don't vote for Donald Trump. And make sure that you vote down ballot and make sure that you check if your congressperson or senator is taking AIPAC money, and make sure that you remember that we need to organize and fight regardless of what happens on election day, regardless of whether or not the Democrats or the Republicans win. So, yeah, thank you guys. Thank you to everybody who sent me super chats. I really appreciate it. It's because of you guys that I get to do the work that I do, that I'm able to make the content that I do. I will still be making content throughout the weekend. And if you guys want to see more of my content, obviously, I'll be making it throughout the weekend. I am going to talk about what happened in Palestine today once I catch up on it in North Gaza. So you guys can follow me if you want to see my other content in between YouTube lives. I post it on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, so you can follow me any of those socials. Make sure if you're not already subscribed to YouTube, subscribe. It's free to subscribe to YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to YouTube. Also, is the name Blakely or Blake? It's Blakely. Blakely. You can also become a member. You can become a member on YouTube, but you can also become a member on Ko-Fi or Patreon, which I kind of prefer because they don't take as much money from you as YouTube does. Or you can donate to my Venmo to support my work. Anyway, yeah. Free Palestine. I love all of you. Thank you to everybody who's members. And thank you guys for being so chill, like during this. I honestly thought I was going to get attacked a lot more in this live and that I would have to do a lot more yelling. But you guys were actually pretty chill. So I love you all. And make sure you look up your ballot initiatives. We'll talk about that more as the election gets closer. But yeah, free Palestine. I love you all. And guys, everybody, keep your eyes on Palestine. Oh, sorry, this is the last thing I want to say. They're going to amp up their attacks in Gaza because they know that America specifically is distracted by our elections. Don't let them be. Don't let them distract you with the election. All eyes on Palestine. Yeah, defund Israel. All right, everybody. I love you. I'll see you on Monday at 5.